Welcome. Before I begin, what's going on? I just got this book like 10 minutes before I started. The Second Coming of the New Age. The Hidden Dangers of Alternative Spirituality in Contemporary America and Its Churches. Stephen Bancars and Josh Peck. Really interesting book here, and I thought the intro was worth reading. The teachings of Jesus and the belief system of the first century church are antithetical to New Age theology. The biggest difference is their Christology, their view of Jesus himself. And it goes on, the New Age version of Jesus is quite different. It considers Jesus as either merely a wise human teacher or something quasi-divine, such as an ascended master, spirit guide, or even an extraterrestrial being who came here to teach us how we can ascend and reach the same level of consciousness he had. A common tactic of the New Age teachers is to quote a Bible verse, remove it from the context of the surrounding verses, twist the intended meaning of the author, and use it to support their own anti-biblical teachings. So, yeah, I see that a lot on Instagram. So, definitely worth picking up, especially if you're a recovering vegan and recovering from the brain damage. A lot goes into that. It's not just eating animal foods, which I think the carnivore people are missing, right? Because you got to realize even the animals are poisoned, right? So you cut out all the plants and you're cutting off a lot of the poisoning, but there's still poisons in the animals. And so you kind of have to, you have to supplement. And what are you going to supplement? Well, I would say magnesium bicarbonate, shilajit, vitamin E, spore-based probiotics, beef liver if you can't get the fresh thing. Those are like my top. And systemic enzymes, of course. But that's an education. Dumping Iron by P.D. Mangan, worth a read. Yes, it is. Other literature recommendations on iron toxicity. There were a few that Josh Rubin told me about. Trying to see. I think they were on Amazon. Yeah, Exposing the Hidden Dangers of Iron. That's one that he recommends. I haven't checked that one out yet. That's the only one I know of besides the P.D. Mangan one. But yeah, it looks like a good read. So, Jordan, all the people are here. Welcome. Thoughts on tea tree oil? I think it's okay topically. I wouldn't take that internally. Best thing to eat 30 minutes before intense physical performance. Carbs and protein. So you could do honey and cheese is a really good combo. You could do raw milk and some fruit. That's a really good combo. Or some bone broth. And some type of carb source is a really good combo. Why does shilajit make me feel irritable? Should I push through and see if it improves? Yeah, you should. So this is one of the things with shilajit that it can do everything. And, it's hard to talk about a substance that you sell. I'm kind of always conflicted about, my Panacea product because I could go off all day, every day on shilajit, how beneficial it was, but at the end of the day, people would look at me and say, you're selling it. So they're going to take what I say to it with a grain of salt. And so I did name it Panacea for a reason, and it does contain all minerals on Earth, discovered and undiscovered. And so remember, the enzymes need minerals to work. So what's going to happen when you've been deficient in these trace minerals you never heard of, right? And then you add them back in, well, you're just adding electrical highways to your body, right? So you're adding more lanes in your body for electrons to flow across. And basically getting oxygen to areas of your body that you've never had it before. So it can have profound effects on your consciousness. You mentioned irritability. When we're working on building highways in the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal gland. And I think the pineal gland is over talked about. How about just the pituitary gland? How about the hypothalamus, right? And you add in magnesium bicarbonate, and now your hippocampus could work, right? And you could actually store and retrieve memories efficiently. And so it's kind of like a combination, but a lot of brain function really just comes down to minerals. And carnivore diet's not going to cut it, guys. Vegan diet's not going to cut it, guys. Soil's shot, soil's poisoned. Need to take Shilajit. It's not a supplement. It's like context of living on planet Earth. Could you talk about temperature, cold, hot, and its effect on metabolism and stress? Yeah, so this is something I have a lot of experience with over the years because I was in the sun worshiping cult for a couple of years. I was lost. And I was doing a lot of overdoing the cryotherapy, not at the clinics, but actually cold baths. And so the way I look at it now from more of a balanced perspective is that if you're stressed or recovering from stress, or you have PTSD and you know it, or most people do, right? It's like I talk to people all day long, and it's like I could just look in their eyes and tell they're stressed. Like, no, I'm not. I'm keto. I meditate. I feel great. It's like, yeah, you're stressed. Everyone's stressed. And so the sooner you get that, the sooner you get how important carbs are, because carbs shut down cortisol. And so if you add in a lot of extreme cold and extreme heat, what are you doing? You're just stressing yourself more. You're pushing your physiology more out of balance. It's already stressed. It's already trying to find homeostasis, and it can't because you're not regulating your blood sugar, because you're restricting animal protein and or sugar, right? And so when you stop restricting those and you eat frequently, right, maybe 5-6 meals a day, whatever is necessary, then your temperature can start to self-regulate. But people are trying to, force it and do heavy metal detox in the sauna. It's like people are forgetting the priorities. What are you going into sauna to sweat out radiation and heavy metals when you're full of tons of inorganic calcium and potassium, right? And copper that's not available, and you have iron overload, right? So, yeah. That's my thoughts on it. I say don't mess with temperature therapy until you've really worked on your metabolism for like a year, maybe 2 years. 0.5 gram of Shilajit still effective, 1 gram necessary. Yeah, I'm up to about 3 to 4 grams of Shilajit a day. I'll just note that's nearly impossible with Pure Black because of their markup, one, and because it's just an inferior product. But Panacea, 5 tablets, that's 1 gram. So if you do, 2 rows on the thing, it makes it really easy to count it. And someone emailed me Shilajit capsules, and I used to promote these from a different company. The powdered Shilajit capsules aren't as good as the pure resin. And so I used to believe like they were the same. It's always better to do the straight resin because it's less processed. That you have to water extract to get the powder. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, because it works. I still use the powder daily, the pristine hydro powder. It's the best. But you want to take both, the resin and the powder. Quick question. Any idea why I feel ill after taking small diluted amounts of magnesium bicarbonate? Again, like Shilajit, these are wide-acting things. This is why, probably carnivore people, anti-supplementarian people look at me and they're like, Matt, you talk about being retarded, you seem retarded. You're just talking about the same supplements over and over and over and over again. You're making blanket statements, Matt. Why are you making blanket statements? Does everyone need magnesium? Does everyone need Shilajit? Yes, they do. That's my answer. Every single person on planet Earth needs not just magnesium bicarbonate. Why? Because it's part 4, complex 4 of the mitochondria and complex 5. Can't make structured water. Everyone's spending 10 grand to make structured water. You make it in your body with magnesium bicarbonate. And it's also a part of making adenosine triphosphate. You need magnesium. And you also need magnesium to do a lot of different functions specifically related to vitamin D and switching it over from the storage form to the active form. They're called calcitropic hormones, and they're magnesium dependent. So whenever you have anything with calcium, know that magnesium's not far behind. So calcitonin, right? All of these pretty much hormones that flip over, they need magnesium to do that, right? So most people's missing link, like when people pay me $200 and we do a Skype 1 hour consultation, I sit down and I'm not going to just regurgitate what I did here in this live. It's going to be somewhat specific, but for the most part, it is just the same stuff. You're magnesium deficient. Oh, how do you know, Matt? Well, have you gotten a test? No, I haven't. But I have this symptom. I had anxiety, I had depression, I couldn't get out of the couch, I had fatigue, brain fog. You're magnesium deficient. No test required. Right? And so you can spin your wheels looking at heavy metal hair analysis and blah, 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 blah. You're magnesium deficient. Can it be that simple? Yeah. Can your relationship problems be your magnesium deficient? Yeah. Right? Arguing with your spouse or your partner, you're magnesium deficient. Right? Acting neurotic, obsessive thoughts, compulsive behavior, repetitive thoughts, just weird behavior, magnesium deficient, right? Degeneracy. So, yeah, I see a lot of magnesium deficiency in today's society. And there's reasons for that I won't go into just because of the time in this live. Would buying basic red LED bulbs from a store like Home Depot be okay for some red light therapy? Yeah, definitely. You want to look at gembared.com. He has a lot of good DIY articles. He's definitely for the people, unlike Juve, who just wants to put a monopoly on the market. And so, just know that the solar meter, I bought one. It's not, as he has an article on it, it's not an efficient, accurate way of measuring irradiance with a solar power meter. You can get some idea, but it's not the same. And so is there a difference between different LEDs like you would buy from these companies and something you would get at Home Depot? Yeah, for sure. And experiment, right? I'm like 5 years in, 5 years into red light therapy, and it's been a journey. A lot of trial and error. Extrema Cookware advises not to use butter. Yeah, everyone trips out about that. I use ghee on it. I don't sweat it. How do you cook ground beef in your extremas? I'm trying to avoid coconut oil. I would try ghee. I think butter, it's a little denser, so I would email them and ask about ghee. I haven't done it yet. I should really have them on the podcast though, so we could break that down. Fellow Catholic and nutrition health advocate here. Hello and thanks for all of your info. It's helped a ton since leaving the medical medium protocols. Awesome. Thank you. Happy to hear that. In your interview with Dave Stetzer, you guys talked about discharging on aluminum foil. Can you use the same foil multiple times or one use only? Yeah, multiple times. Doesn't matter. Appreciate all the support, guys. Thanks for the comments. Would you welcome Paul Staladino on for a friendly debate? Sure, but I don't really see where it's going to go anywhere. I pretty much debated Dr. Jack Cruz in person, and the overweight drunk neurosurgeon at the 2019 Neil Strauss event. And you want to know where that went? Nowhere. Because he's probably full of parasites, probably has severe brain damage beyond repair. Call it retardation, call it what you want. And so are we going to get anywhere? Am I going to break his deuterium spell, right, and tell him that carbohydrates are the primary fuel of the body? Is it going to do anything for the audience? Probably not. All right, and so, debates are fun for drama and stuff like that, but do you really get anything accomplished with a debate? Not really. I think here's the way I see it in the health community. It's just what it is, right? So Luke Story chose the side of Matt Maruca, Dr. Jack Cruz. That side is against me, like actively trash talking me. And so, he chose that side, right? And that's all it is. It's just choosing sides. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way because it's kind of like a high school thing, but it is what it is, and it is the reality of the natural health field. What do you think about the side effects of aspirin? If you're K deficient, then it's a problem. If you have vitamin K coming in, not a problem at all. I actually recently upped my dose of aspirin to probably 3 to 4 grams a day. Not really counting, just kind of slamming it. Divided doses and feeling like the Shilajit, incremental benefits, but that might vary from person to person. I think I've talked about it before. For people with a history of skin issues, aspirin is bar none. It's way better than people are doing zinc and B complex and all this complicated stuff. No, acetyl salicylic acid for the skin. Vegans do it a lot with Jesus was against killing to complain about eating meat. Yeah, we kicked off my podcast, Stephen, about veganism in the context of Christianity. Just received my Gemba Red Oomph Red Light. How do you recommend using it? Can you recommend a good protocol, please? Use it probably 9 inches from the skin. And I would say just target the torso. And usually 20 minutes twice a day is ideal. But if you just hit, your vital organs right here, that's a pretty good spot. And you're going to get a systemic benefit as well. But yeah, if you have any, local problems, then definitely hit it with that. Thoughts on colloidal silver for immune? I think it's good. I like oregano as well. People forget Shilajit is amazing for the immune system. My top things for the immune system are whole food vitamin C, which has copper, which is good for the immune system. Immunoglobulin, so I like the Just Thrive IgA product, and then Shilajit, because Shilajit kills viruses, wipes out viruses, and people don't understand that. So, yeah, those 3 are really, really powerful for the immune system. What part of your protocol should we avoid or limit when trying to lose weight? I would go a little lighter on the full-fat dairy and do like 2% milk. Try to look for no added A and D, and skim milk, stuff like that. And lower your fat intake if you're trying to lose weight, and go higher carb. And so my goal is to gain as much weight as possible. And as of today, I weigh the most I've ever weighed in my life, which is great. And I credit that to upping my protein intake, higher than 100 grams a day, shooting for like 150 grams a day of protein, and also eating quite a bit of saturated fat. And that's been really helping me put on the weight. I even think if people aren't Christian, they should connect. There's tons of info. Oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. What is the back decompressor you recommended? Yeah, it's the lumbar home track spinal decompression. And you can find that on the Live Pristine website. I don't get an affiliate commission. They recommend, they say just go to eBay, but they sell the adapter for it. What signs, symptoms have you heard? Oh, another side effects of aspirin question. What are the side effects of PUFA? Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's. What does aspirin cure? Maybe all those things I just mentioned. So side effects of aspirin, I wouldn't really worry about it. What signs, symptoms have you heard regarding lipofuscin detoxification? Mainly just breakouts in the skin, because it'll get worse before it gets better. And so lipofuscin detox is, just watch. I'm going to make this trend. I'm going to make this a trending thing. Just watch. And you'll look back and say, wow, Matt Blackburn started that. Of course. Because no one's talking about lipofuscin, right? I'm sure Wendy Myers, Chris Masterjohn, I'm sure, just give them like 3 months. They're going to start talking about it. Mark my words. But it takes years to detoxify lipofuscin. It takes like 4 years. And so, it's not something that you speed through. Take your time with it. Where can I get a Bible that isn't in Hebrew, that wasn't tampered with by King James, just an authentic Bible? Stephen Bancar's, what did he recommend? I think I wrote it in my notes here, because I think that was one of my questions in the interview. Let me see if I can find it here. Well, I would say skip to the Q&A. I think it was like 3/4 through the Q&A on the interview. It's a long interview. And we had a question from someone about the Bible being rewritten over and over and over again. And he said he had like an amazing, logical, factual, concrete answer to that question that I get like on the daily. And it's related to P52 papyri, fragment from the Gospel of John, dates back to 90 AD, and dates as early as 120 AD. Yeah, it's like 90 to 120 AD. So he goes into it there. It's not, as the New Agers say, where it's been rewritten. It's all based off this really old papyri, and it was like right after his death that it was transcribed. Do you still take 100 milligrams pregnenolone daily? Yeah, I think I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday with that, but it's, as Georgie Dinkoff said, it is a really safe one because it's at the top. So I don't think it's really that necessary to cycle, but I'll probably do like 5 days max, 2 days off. Have you supplemented DHEA, and if so? So I was taking that one and then I stopped. That's the one you have to be more careful because that's more downstream. But pregnenolone and progesterone are right up at the top. So there's nowhere else to go. So to take them just stimulates the downstream production. So yeah, DHEA I think is more of like, someone's over 50, like a male. With the pristine water filter for the water we drink, bathe, wash our hands, and wash out food, what do you recommend for water in a washing machine and dishwasher? I wouldn't worry about it till, unless you own your house, then drop $10K on a whole house system. Until then, I wouldn't worry about the washing machine and dishwasher. Should we even bother buying organic? You said we were all poisoned by pesticides and NPK, and the cure is bone broth and shilajit because organic potatoes are 3 times more expensive. A lot of suppliers just don't pay for the certification for organic. So if you can find a good source, maybe call them up, visit the farm, do some research. There's a lot of that here in Idaho where I'm at, where I taste that and I'm like, okay, this is organic, but it's not certified organic. I could just taste it. And so I would say go by that. Is Blue Shield safe for pregnancy? Yes. I have the Ultra and the mobile unit. Tyler, do white or purple carrots have lower vitamin A? Okay, I don't know the last part of that. Lower vitamin A, not that I'm aware of. Well, yeah, they have less beta carotene. The sweet potatoes makes them orange is the beta carotene. Do you eat equal parts carb and protein, or one more than the other? Depends on the day, really. I really go a lot by feeling with my macronutrient ratios, especially because I'm not trying to lose weight. If I was trying to lose weight, I would be counting every calorie that I put in my mouth, because that's how you lose weight. But equal parts, I would say so, yeah. Can you hook up large containers of CO2 on your soda stream? Since those small ones don't last long and they're expensive. I have a post way back, I think it was from like a year and a half ago, where I did rig up one from a beer store. If you can find like a beer making store and tell them what you're trying to do, they could probably help you out. Any brand or kind of white rice you would recommend? I just use Kirkland Signature white rice. I don't really worry about specifics in certain things. It's pretty much just straight sugar. So with pristine water travel filter? Do you need to do something once the water comes out, or is it good to? It's good to go. That's the benefit of this system. Because if you have distilled, you have all these systems people are recommending. It's like you're adding stuff to it and doing all this stuff after. I still do stuff after to it, but I'm just I'm extreme and I pay more attention to my water than my food. So I do a lot of vortexing, usually an hour of vortexing, and then I'll hit it for 30 minutes with the MRET. It would be awesome if you interviewed Gregory. He is into exposing New Age Luciferianism and is very awesome. Thanks for the recommendation there. I've been dealing with skin issues on my face, redness mostly. I've been doing a lot of what you recommend and still no luck. Any suggestions? Vitamin E. That's something I haven't brought up in this little live. Vitamin E is one of those other things for the skin that's overlooked because polyunsaturated fats just destroy the skin. So, play with 800 IUs of vitamin E a day. Start there, see if you have any reactions for like a week. Bump it up, 3 a day. Bump it up 4 a day till you see results. And yeah, a lot of like rosacea, it's all PUFA toxicity. How's Lyra been adjusting to her new home? She loves it. Yeah, she's usually on the couch or the bed or her little pillows. Should pregnant women take Shilajit? Definitely consult your doctor with that one, but if my wife was pregnant, she would be on Shilajit. Do you think we could be a little less strict with bathing water? How detrimental would it be to use stuff like distilled water for bathing? Oh yeah, it's definitely if I had to choose between bathing in sulfuric and nitric or bathing in hard water, I would choose bathe in acids personally. And that's pretty much what distilled water is. And so, yeah, it's definitely good. It depends on your source water. Like if you're on a well or low TDS in your district, then the dual KDF, like from Pristine Hydro, that one works great. And that's fine. Thoughts on the Australian fires? I saw some memes about it, but I have no idea what's going on with that. Any current recommendations for parasite removal? Eat more animal flesh. That's my number one recommendation for parasites. Eat more red meat because if you have parasites, you're protein deficient and you're hydrochloric acid deficient. And so, raw honey would help as well. But just getting that HCl up will really help. Tobacco is also something that can be used for parasites. It's a little, controversial. There's many different ways of ingesting it, but that was shown in the Farmer's Almanac many years ago as a dewormer for pigs. It was used to deworm pigs. So. Not really a fan anymore of like wormwood combination and all these black walnuts, and those are very aggressive. PEMF, I would say if you have access to it, hit the area that you're having issues with, but I would just up the meat. Why is the red light so good? Do you have to be naked for it to penetrate? So the red light is as Ray Peat calls it, the fundamental anti-stress factor for every organism on the planet. And so you don't have to be, you should be naked for the visible red light to penetrate, but for the infrared, you feel that when you go into your house on a summer's day, infrared penetrates through your walls, right? Unless you have some crazy insulation going on that reflects. And so usually we're getting hit with infrared a lot, but it's really the 630 to 660 nanometers, the visible red light that a lot of people are deficient in. And I found I couldn't get enough of it when I set up my red lights. I was like obsessed with it. So why is it so good? It's kind of like a copper replacement, and it stimulates ATP production. to me, I just look at it as a balancer of the entire body, both locally and systemically. It's putting in information that your body could use to reorganize itself. Is Shilajit a precious resource? Could it run out? Not to my knowledge. There's a ton of it in various mountain ranges. I'm sure there's some that's still undiscovered. I'm sure there's a lot, actually, that's undiscovered in many parts of the world. But remember, these are coming from giant areas like the Himalayas, the Siberian mountains. These are very large mountain ranges. For those of us in the north, which of the Spurti lights do you recommend in conjunction with the red light? The Spurti vitamin D, that one. Can you explain how sugar is good for you? Not sugar from fruits, but white sugar. Sure, I can. White sugar is made of sucrose. So if you read all of the keto anti-carbohydrate memes, they never, ever, ever break down the chemical structure of sugar. It's just like saying there's minerals in the kale. It's like, what minerals are in the kale, right? What is the chemical structure of sugar? Well, it's a stupid question, because what sugar are you talking about? So your question, you said white sugar. White sugar is sucrose. Sucrose is 50% glucose, 50% fructose. Glucose, fructose, 50-50. What's in the fruit? Well, it's fructose, right? What does your brain and eyes run on exclusively? It's glucose, right? What rebuilds the sperm in a male? It's fructose. What rebuilds the beta cells in the pancreas? It's fructose. Right? And so sucrose, which is just fructose and glucose, in homemade gummy bears with gelatin, you have your protein, you have your sugar, right? Homemade ice cream, that's ideal. That's like a meal. It's not a dessert or a snack. It's like a meal. So, yeah, I think people are just so programmed, because the PUFA industry, which is synonymous with the fish oil industry, algae oil industry, has programmed the public and say, hate sugar, and don't look at us over here behind the curtain, right? Giving you your diabetes, giving you your cancer, giving you your cataracts, giving you your depression. That's the PUFA over here behind the curtain. But all the hate, just like with a lot of things, and erased from history, and a lot of things, right, have just been making us hate the wrong people. And so same thing with this, hating on the wrong thing. Sugar is not the problem. It's PUFA, polyunsaturated fats. Sugar doesn't cause diabetes. It cures it. PUFA causes diabetes. If you just get that piece, we all have relatives with diabetes, right? And they're just spinning their wheels, going keto and stressing the body more on this diet and that diet and this supplement. It's like, don't restrict the primary fuel of the body. And do you have to eat white sugar? No, but I'm in North Idaho here. It's been snowing for 24 hours straight. There's no fruit in sight. I have honey. I have white sugar, right? So it's context. If you have access to fruit, yeah, go for the fruit. If you don't have access to fruit, if there's snow on the ground, I'm going to eat my white sugar. Parkinson's and cold therapy. The body is likely stressed under PD conditions. Maybe not a good idea. Yeah, I would not do cold therapy for Parkinson's. That's a horrible idea. Plus, there's a dopamine component for Parkinson's. That's why, tobacco has been used in Parkinson's treatment, because tobacco is very dopaminergic, activates the dopamine receptor, and so that's not a good thing for Parkinson's. I would have them try the Sota Biotuner for Parkinson's. That would be an interesting little experiment. Giving blood to get some iron out of the body. It's a great idea. Yeah. For men, once a quarter. For women, the same. It depends on the context. What are your thoughts on smoking cannabis or tobacco? Of course, good quality, even though good quality doesn't mean it's good. Yeah, exactly. And so it's really contextual. I think it depends on the severity of brain damage. I think for someone that has been severely mineral deficient and magnesium deficient their whole life, you should probably do a lot of magnesium bicarbonate and Shilajit before you even think about that, especially the tobacco, but cannabis as well. So, yeah, I think these things are very misunderstood, though. If you haven't listened to my podcast with Georgie Dinkoff, we went into those and alcohol, so that was a really fun episode. Eddie, probably in the next month. Can chewing tobacco bring the good benefits of tobacco without the downsides of burning it? Yeah, if you made it yourself, I used to make a paste from homegrown tobacco blended with cacao and honey and stuff. That's probably the way to go. If you're in the tropics and you have access to tobacco leaves, you can just make it on the stovetop. And I would do 2-3 hours on the stovetop with water and some lemon and acid to extract it. That was really effective, actually. Best protein meal replacement. It's called Ambil, AMBIL, for people that want to look into that. Best protein meal replacement. Probably raw goat's milk blended with sugar or honey and royal jelly and bee pollen. That's a really good one. Do you think different blood types need different foods? I've gotten some question on this recently. I think in my interview, Adam Bergstrom was, I think I brought that up to him, and he was like, if you're A, B, or O, then that's when you need meat. I'm O, so I definitely need to eat meat, but that's about it. I drop magnesium, and a few days later, my anxiety comes back crazy. Yeah, it's really the burn rate. If people could just understand that you can add magnesium in and feel better, but if you're burning through it because of non-native EMFs, iron overload, whatever you have going on, PUFA overload, then you're going to burn through it fast, right? And that's why I recommend mega doses of magnesium. It's because then you'll feel immediate alleviation. But the long-term healing comes from blood donation, beef liver, Shilajit, stuff like that. Is brown sugar good? I wouldn't do it. I'm not sure what kind of minerals are in that one. Let's see. What do you think of chicory root and turmeric? Chicory I haven't looked into. I think it might be estrogenic, if I remember right. Turmeric, I put that on my meat all the time from Dr. Cowan's. It's really good. Is Gerolsteiner mineral water bad to drink? It is. That is rock water. It's full of calcium. Don't drink Gerolsteiner. Do we have to get enough potassium to balance out magnesium, and how? No. Short answer. Long answer is we've been getting tons of inorganic potassium our entire lives in the produce. Again, the keto people are not going to talk about that. They're just going to say it's all about potassium and chloride. It's like, guys, you're magnesium deficient. You're forgetting the most important electrolyte. You've been deficient. Your parents have been deficient. Their parents have been deficient, going back all the way to the 1850s. So it's not potassium, it's magnesium. And when you add in potassium, you're just further antagonizing magnesium, further burning out your last reserves of magnesium. That's going to cause a lot of problems. So, yeah, pretty much we just need magnesium bicarbonate. And, if you're worried about potassium, raw honey has plenty of it. Do you still recommend magnesium chloride foot baths? Yeah, I think they're a good, if you can't get the magnesium bicarbonate, those are awesome. I would not do Epsom salt, because that's just for sulfur. What are your thoughts on magnesium glycinate? Yeah, I think it's one of the better powder forms. It's definitely not ideal. If you can find bisglycinate, that's a good one. How much liver and bone broth daily is necessary to heal the liver? Working on healing Hashimoto's and acne. If I had that, I would do 50 ounces of bone broth daily and maybe about 4 to 5 ounces of liver a day. Are you using any other herbs? Shen blossom stuff. So I'm using Schizandra, Goji, doing some reishi spore oil, all the medicinal mushrooms, chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi. What else? Any other herbs? I think that's mostly it. What's the scoop on tanning beds? Real bad? No, they're definitely a benefit. If you don't get UV for months and months, then it's a good way to go. Groove 4X, awesome. Glad you're liking Panacea. Can you get burnt with infrared? I use a security camera illuminator. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think you can get burnt with infrared. Chris Masterjohn did a friendly discussion with Paul Saladino, basically gently debunked all his BS. That's funny. Yeah, I think people that are just focused on like the ancestral, it's just a waste of time for me. I'm not interested in that. And even if we were like that in the past, I don't care. I don't want to live like that because we're not in those times, right? They didn't have acid rain. They didn't have NPK fertilizer. They didn't have chemtrails. They didn't have non-native EMF. So who cares about ancestors, right? We're here today, and our stress level is insanely high, right? And so if he's saying they were robust because they ate so much protein, muscle meat, and all this stuff, well, guess what? Guess what keeps stress low? It's carbs, it's sugar, right? So if you got a pure protein diet, you're just going to burn out. You're just going to hit the wall because that's going to burn out your nervous system. We need animal protein, but we also need sugar, and that's a balance. And by sugar, I'm using that synonymously with carbs. So fruits, roots, and if you want to get into honey, maple syrup, and then even processed sugar, that's more advanced, but that's definitely, sugared milk I'm a big fan of. I'm getting the full Monty iron test done next week. It says to abstain from vitamins. Yeah, it's BS. Don't worry about it. You can eat right before that. For anyone interested, 2-part debate. Multiple Shilajit or vitamin E, take all at once or at intervals throughout the day. You can take it all at once. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Cold sores that started a few years ago. What's the source? Deficiency, Epstein-Barr virus. Definitely sounds viral. You can do a round of North American urban spice oregano. That would be really good. The Sota Silver Pulsar would probably be a good thing to try. Micropulsing the blood. That's what I would do. What brand of aspirin? Gericare. Can you take Dissolve-It-All while pregnant? Yes. Dude, Matt, that's crazy. I take 250 milligrams max of aspirin. Yeah, each tablet that I have is 325. Awesome, Miguel. That's great. Is the aspirin good for acne? Yes, it is. It's huge for acne. And the reason why it's good for acne is, again, PUFA destroys the skin, aka DHA destroys the skin. Vitamin E is the antidote to that. Any side effects with the PUFA Protect? Not that I'm aware of. Some people don't react well to the base that it's in, so I'm working on a solution to that. So yeah, I would say just start with one a day and see how you feel, and then move up from there. What do you suggest for anemia? Also, how to reduce or treat varicose veins. For anemia, I would detoxify your iron because you have too much of it if you're anemic. It's just in the wrong spot. And so I would take Shilajit. If I had anemia, I would take Shilajit 1 gram a day. Minimum, I would donate blood 4 times a year. I'd get the full Monty iron test at requestatest.com, the full Monty iron panel, to see where I'm at so I could track my results. A couple $100. How to reduce or treat varicose veins, vitamin E, and Dissolve-It-All. My systemic enzymes will wipe out varicose veins. What signs, symptoms have you heard regarding lipofuscin? Okay, I think I already answered that one. Aspirin, vitamin E, and avoiding PUFA took care of all capital of my skin issues. That's only me. That's awesome. Are all Shilajit created equal? Yeah, I think companies will try to scare with contaminants and this and this. It's generally pretty pure. There's the only impure Shilajit I've ever tried. All the people making these claims haven't even gotten sick from taking crappy Shilajit. I have, right? Because I've been taking Shilajit for like 7 or 8 years, so I can talk about it with experience. And I bought some cheap stuff on like Etsy or something, I can't remember, some website, and it was like a kilo of the powder for really cheap, right? I don't know what it was, like $80. And I just downed it, right? I was eating it like cereal or whatever, and I got sick. I think it was contaminated with like rat feces or something. So it's more with the powder you have to be careful with. The tar, the pitch is pretty much pure across the board. What brand of vitamin C? I like Crucial 4 Camu Camu capsules or North American Urban Spice Elder C. Are there any foods, not processed stuff, that you will absolutely not eat? Still on the fence about pork a little bit. The whole unclean meat thing in the scriptures still kind of, figuring that one out. So I'm just, until then, I'm avoiding like bacon, for example. That's about it. Yeah. I've been giving my mom the Shilajit I got from you, and she's off her anti-anxiety meds after a few days. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. Looking more muscular. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was out in the snow. That's why I haven't been posting much. It was snowing constantly, and so I was clearing the driveway pretty much all day. It's like a full-time job. So hopefully there's a break in the snow soon, because that's a lot of work. But I definitely don't have to go to the gym, which is cool. Is Shilajit okay for kids to take? If so, would you want to stop taking probiotics? No, you can take probiotics with Shilajit. That's fine. I would use just Thrive probiotics and stay away from regular probiotics. Only do spore-based. Any thoughts on skimming raw milk? Milk skimmer, just centrifugals. That's the way to do it. If you want low fat, that's the way to do it for sure. Thoughts on consuming 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide to get oxygen to the cells? I wouldn't do it. That's a really bad idea. It's kind of like doing all the biohackers are doing the ozone stuff. Not smart, not good. So we don't want to add more oxygen to a system that has a ton of polyunsaturated fats and iron. That's just going to cause chaos. And so what we want to do is get the cells to generate more CO2, carbon dioxide. And CO2 is what you've learned to be the waste product of the cell, but it's not. It's actually the gatekeeper for, that's a cool song. It's actually the gatekeeper for oxygen. And so we need CO2 for oxygen to get into the cell. And you get more CO2 by consuming more carbs. And so you don't have to do detoxes and just start eating more sugar. And your cells will use 50% less water and generate 50% more carbon dioxide, therefore allowing more oxygen into the cell. You can also follow my CLF protocol, where that is designed specifically to get more oxygen into the cells. We're not forcing it in, we're removing the obstructions so that oxygen can get to the cell, electron chain transport can work, and it can pull the electrons across the 5 cytochrome stations to eventually make ATP. Is aspirin good for acne? Yes. You're an OG. Appreciate the support. Vertical diet for athletes? I haven't heard of it. It sounds good if it's repeat inspired. I think you mentioned aspirin powder can be rubbed in the skin to address age spots, lipofuscin. Yeah, even ethanol can work. Alcohol is anti-lipofuscin. So topical alcohol with aspirin and vitamin E, those are all very effective topicals for lipofuscin. You can do like a cotton ball and just saturate it. What do you feed your cat? It's the brand I Love in You. I was feeding her raw meat for a while. It's just, it's a lot of work if you're in and out. So I had to pick my battles. She doesn't really have real food, but she has real water. And so it's like, which one's more important? It's real water, obviously. But she gets her Vortex water. I do the whole protocol. She gets the MRET. She gets my full water protocol, and that fills up her fountain. So I think she's doing pretty well. And she sleeps on the Magnetico almost every day because she knows how powerful that 20 Gauss is. So she gets charged up on my bed at least once a day. I see her on there. No heart palpitations since starting vitamin E. That's awesome. Is a water softener combined with an RO equal or close to pristine water filter? No, it's way different. Are you okay with lemons? Yes, I love lemons. What do I do for diabetes type 2? So diabetes type 2 can be very easily alleviated. If I had it, I would use magnesium bicarbonate to get that into the pancreas, and I would use carbohydrates because that will regenerate the beta cells in the pancreas, and I would use vitamin E to counteract the PUFA and detox the PUFA, which damages the beta cells. The beta cells in the pancreas are the insulin-secreting cells of the pancreas, and so PUFA wrecks them. Sugar regenerates them, and then the pancreas stores bicarbonate. And you aren't just going to do baking soda, you're going to do liquid magnesium bicarbonate. On my website, Matt-Blackburn, I have the one I recommend. But I make it myself, right? You can make it. Magnesium bicarbonate is probably the number one thing for diabetes. Shilajit, vitamin E, spore-based probiotics. And just don't restrict carbs. You don't have to go crazy and do, straight sucrose, white sugar. But raw milk, fruit, honey. Honey is very anti-diabetes, actually. So the key with diabetes type 2 is really utilizing sugar. Because what they find with type 2 diabetics, well, there's sugar in the urine. Why? Because the sugar wasn't being utilized by the cell. Why? Because of omega-3s, because of DHA being poison. And so that stops the sugar from being metabolized. So you have to get that out. And that's with vitamin E, choline, gelatin's very helpful. My mom's getting oral surgery in a few days and will be on antibiotics. She wants to know if she can still take Shilajit with antibiotics. Yes. It's just with like psych meds, you want to be careful. Like pharmaceuticals that affect the mind, you don't want to take Shilajit with that. But yeah, antibiotics, it's fine. I would actually make sure that she takes a Just Thrive probiotic with antibiotics, because that will really protect her system from the antibiotics. They synergize the Just Thrive probiotics with that. Thinning hair, is that protein related? It sounds like a silica deficiency, and you can buy like Orgono Living Silica. It's kind of expensive. It's bamboo liquid silica. That's probably the best one as far as, supplementing. But the pristine hydrofilter, it has the orthosilicic acid in there, or just the electrolyte balance, it has it in there too. It does sound like a silica deficiency, the thinning hair. Brand of vitamin E, MitoLife. I sell it. It's called PUFA Protect. And I wrote like an essay for the product description. Which topical vitamin E? You can just break open my capsules. That works really well. Let's see. Alopecia, what's your 1,000 root cause and way to treat alopecia? Yeah, so that's a tough one. I would definitely look into Danny Roddy's work on that. It's definitely a metabolism issue. To simplify it, I would say just the CLF protocol that I made and get oxygen back to those tissues. My mom cooks in canola. I'd be so sick. Wow. Aspirin good for acne? What's the dosage? If I was using acne myself if I was using aspirin for acne myself, I would use like a gram a day, and I would do it with a meal, like with red meat, and then see how I react after like a week with that. Regarding the Berkey, what all does it not remove? Is it more important what isn't taken out versus what is being added? So, is it more important what isn't taken out? I don't know if I understand the second part, but why is it, what does it not remove? It doesn't remove the volatile acids, so sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrofluorosilicic acid, haloacetic acid, bromidic acid. Doesn't remove the inorganic calcium, the iron in the water. Does remove a lot of the aluminum, like pretty much all of it. But it's really the stuff that filter companies don't talk about that's the issue, right? These acids can eat into statues and stuff. And so what's it doing in your body? And that's going right through the Berkey filter. Try tobacco tea. It's actually quite beneficial. What do you do for mold stuck in sinus cavities in the brain? Thanks. That's a tricky one. That's where I might use ozone, if that's really what it is, ozone therapy, but I would do a little lipofuscin detox beforehand, or make sure you're on a lot of vitamin E daily. Oregano would probably be a little safer to use, like the Orega spray from North American Urban Spice. Are there any other big names who are speaking out about lipofuscin? Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any experience, thoughts with the Hulda Clark Parazapper? I think Sota does it better. I used the Terminator 2 for like a year and didn't get any effect at all. Then again, I was vegan, so it's probably just super messed up anyway. Best cold remedies, thoughts on elderberry syrup. That's one of my top. That, lemon, raw honey. How about red light exposure and skin moles? Does the light make them grow? Cancer concerns? No, so red light's actually effective at inhibiting tumor growth. The opposite. So yeah, it's very safe for moles. What shower head do you suggest or recommend until I can do the whole house water filtration that you suggest? On my website, or if you just go to pristinehydro.com, and you'll see the dual KDF one there. Let's see. That's wild, LP. Okay, I got the warning, so... let me see. Yeah, probably way behind on questions here. Don't you, American Spirit? That's great. Non-organic sugar being sprayed with glyphosate. If you're on Shilajit, you have nothing to fear with glyphosate, so it's not a problem. And if the liver is functioning in general. UV causes skin damage, right? It does, especially with PUFA. Biofusion, I haven't heard of that. How often should we do a tanning bed? I think like once or twice a week. They probably know there. I would ask them. Cartwheels. Let's see. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you joining. What are the signs? Zolvidol is activated on the dose. You'll just have more energy, more mental clarity, better mood. Best form of salt. Redmond sea salt's somewhat better than Himalayan, not much. I would do Icelandic, and let's see. Wow, I'm way behind. Pork. Let me see. Well, I'll do another one of these soon. So thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate the support, and yeah, to your health. Love all your comments. All right, take care, guys.